Hey, Gabriel Blake.
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
So, where are we today? Because today's a very special episode.
Not just because it's your 40th birthday today, but we are in a car driving to a theater that we've rented out to celebrate 4 decades of Jose.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but also it's a first. That is the first day that we actually have a guest star with us.
A special guest.
Yeah. So today we have our friend Edwin, or Gabriel Edwin. Are you okay with just being treated as a Gabriel?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I'm totally butch and brewy.
We can hear from the voice.
Yes.
So today Edwin is joining us for just talking about Enemy. That, as we mentioned on the previous episode, this is not the first time that we watched this movie. It's actually the second time that we watched it in the last year. But we liked it so much, and we regretted not recording an episode for that one, that we wanted to watch it again. So I think that this was my pick.
No, it was mine.
Oh, it was your pick. Yeah, that's true. We even discussed it before starting. So why did you pick this movie?
Because I love Denis Villeneuve. And I loved this movie. And I love Jake Gyllenhaal. And I love Melanie Laurent. I just love everything about it. And I'm super excited that we get to hear what Edwin, an enemy virgin who lost his cherry, to hear what he thought.
Wait, so this is about my OnlyFans?
Yeah, it's about your
Okay,
OnlyFans.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Edwin has an OnlyFans. We'll put a link in the description below.
Okay, great, thank you.
Please, the 6 of us that you are listening to this, please just subscribe. It would just make it like just go from the top 99 to the top 98. So I think that it's then my turn. Usually what we do is like I need to summarize what this movie is about.
Okay.
But I don't know, Edwin, if you want to complete, just by all means, just jump, in. But this actually follows the story of Jake Gyllenhaal, that it just proves to the world that the only thing better than one Jake Gyllenhaal is 2 Jake Gyllenhaals.
Amen,
Yep.
brother.
So basically it's a very boring, I don't know if boring is the word, like a teacher, a college teacher, that then one day after renting a movie, like a B-series movie or low-budget movie, he actually sees himself as one of the actors in the movie. And then he starts getting obsessed and wanting to know the other person. Wanted to actually know why is there like someone that looks exactly like him. And that other person happens to have like the opposites, well, not the opposites, but a bit more of an exciting lifestyle. That is an actor that we don't know exactly what does he do for a living, because he lives in a way too nice of an apartment for being like a B-series kind of actor, yeah. But then the actor starts trying to manipulate him for just trying to have sex with his girlfriend, spiders. Giant spiders.
Yes, I do want to call out that the film opens up
Yep.
in a very weird sex club where a bunch of men are watching, 1, a woman masturbate, and then 2, a giant spider is brought in and a woman in a beautiful stiletto heel crushes it, while all of these men stare with a look of like lust and desire, which is important.
Yep.
When I first started watching the movie, I legitimately thought I was at the beginning of a snuff film.
A snuff film and a spider snuff film.
Like the other girl was walking in, taking off her robe, and they were gonna pull up the tray, uncover the tray, and there was gonna be a pistol or a knife.
What does this say about what he thinks about us?
Yeah. So
I mean, it was very Eyes Wide Shut, or
okay.
What was the movie that just came out with Issa Rae on Netflix?
Issa Rae.
Oh God, I can't remember.
Oh, that she's like a couple with.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
they're a couple, but they basically discover like a secret society in New Orleans.
Yeah,
very similar.
Yeah, I think that is a bit more serious. I think metaphorical, but something that really like struck us, or that I found like just mind blowing the first time that we saw it, is that you can just see it for the face value. And I don't know if you guys like watch it in Amazon, but they have like a follow-up like documentary.
I'm glad you watched it because I'm gonna rage about it.
Rage in a good or bad sense?
In a bad sense.
Okay, so
also, just to support my snuff film thought was clearly a smoke-filled room full of old rich white men.
No. It was diverse. I watched.
Yeah, there were other
was
guys.
Indian.
Yep.
There was.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was old rich men.
Yes.
Yeah.
Majority white. Thank you very much.
No.
And but
Because
they were not rich.
doorman
Yeah,
was
the
there.
doorman was there. He was not rich.
But beside my point, I mean, that was his he was a guest and was really excited
Sure.
and wanted to go back, you know. But to me, that usually screams snuff or something, because usually if you're that rich, you can
Get away
pay
with it.
someone to come over and step on a tarantula for you.
Sure.
Is
In your
that
own home.
something that rich people do?
Maybe it was low rent rich people. Like I make $250,000 a year, and this
Like
is
the
how
Kardashians.
Yeah.
this is how I feel like, you know, a billionaire.
Okay, no, that's fair.
That works.
So, I mean, the thing is, like, as we watch it, this is like at least it's the second time that I watch it. But it's like now I actually read that first scene as something different. You know, I read it a bit more like all of these people, they're probably like just cheating, quote unquote, on their wives or girlfriends or whatever, like, is like the relationship.
I really wish we had recorded our first conversation, because I remember we dramatically disagreed with what the spider represented, but I don't remember what we felt at the time.
Well, I mean, what I felt, what I explained, I think that we disagreed at the beginning and then we actually ended up agreeing. At least my feeling is that the spider is something that 99% of the population doesn't find attractive. You know, it's something that we find repulsive. And here, or you know, like even scary, especially when they are like large spiders, or like a woman, an attractive woman with a spider head. So for me, it represents like the kind of fear and repulsion to commitment
All right.
and to relationships.
We 100% agree now.
Yeah.
Edwin, what do you think the spider represented?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and go with that.
Okay, I'm going to delete
And I
diarrhea.
So the like kind of rich, sleek motorcycle riding Jake Gyllenhaal.
What was his name? It was Adam?
It was
Adam and Anthony?
And
Adam and Anthony, and he's Anthony.
Yeah.
And hold on, let me just check. I had it in my notes multiple times. Yeah, this is Anthony, and then Adam is the
teacher?
Is the teacher.
Gotcha.
so, just spoiler alert, are we going to give away the final soon?
Oh yeah, we're going to be like definitely talking about the
I mean,
final scene.
most of my I have a list of thoughts which
Please.
I can share at any point in the podcast. Maybe we can save it for later, because it seems like we're kind of going over the synopsis right now, but and I have one last thing to finish. That's why I'm being a little bit quiet right now.
He's still doing his homework for the podcast.
I'm not doing my homework. I had something come to mind, and I thought it would be good to read or to
Okay.
write.
Yeah, nice.
Is it a poem? About
Yes.
spiders, about giant spiders?
Ode to Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, how hairy he is.
So the final scene, he's basically, I don't even know.
No, wait a second. I mean, basically,
I-
basically after what we were saying about like the bad, I don't really want to call it. The actor Gyllenhaal, he actually just tricks teacher Gyllenhaal for having sex with his girlfriend, but the girlfriend actually just realizes that he's not who he says he is, because the ring band.
Yeah.
So they start like this discussing on their way back, and they get into an accident at the same time, and they die. And at the same time, teacher Gyllenhaal ends up in bed with the pregnant wife of actor Gyllenhaal, and things start like just normalizing. It's almost like both of the stories end up converging just to a single timeline, or a single kind of reality of there is like just one Jack Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
And then the next morning he receives it looks like everything is fine, and he receives a key that the key is supposed to be the invitation for going to this sex club that we see at the beginning of the movie, so closing the whole loop. And then he starts making an excuse again to his wife, telling he's like, well, I think that tonight I'm not going to be there. The wife goes completely silent in another room, and when they saw what the wife is doing in that room, the wife just turned into an as gigantic tarantula that is like basically more scared of him than him is of the tarantula.
So just one comparison. I feel like the payoff I got from the Turin horse, I got that same level of payoff with an entertaining movie before it.
Yeah, and it was 90 minutes, man. It was not fucking 3 hours. We watched a movie that it was called The Turing Horse, and it was 3 hours.
of nothing, of just
Okay.
like people making
In black and white.
potatoes and then sleeping and then eating potatoes.
And being miserable.
Yeah.
But the ending was great. And it was one of the worst experiences of my life. It was Spanish, man.
Celine Dion was voting. That's all I'm saying.
We didn't record.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts? Please just read us.
Well, I have a few thoughts. We'll start with my opinion on the movie is basically a mystery. I think for some that watch it, just wondering like what the hell is going on here. And basically, you have two people that are not just they don't just look alike, and not even to the point of like twins. It's like a literal doppelganger. They even have the same scar. And at one point, you even find out that their mother believes that they're the same person. I was a little the ending kind of ruined my theory, except for the fact that it's also so bizarre and out there. It was almost like, okay, this might just be a dream sequence. But I got a little bit of a descent into madness, split personality, the narrator versus Tyler Durden kind of feel that, this person might actually be living some kind of split life. And they really do, they throw a couple loops out there. For instance, when oh God, why do they both have to have A names? That's so frustrating.
Yeah.
When actor Jake is sleeping with...
Hold on, you can remember this because Adam is the original guy and the scar is the fucking rib God took out to make Eve.
Yeah, but they both have ribs. Or they both have scars.
Yeah, but Adam is the first guy. He's the one we meet.
Okay.
And then we meet this alternate
So,
character, Anthony.
Anthony is making sex at Adam's girlfriend, lover, can I cuss in this?
Yes.
Fuck buddy, whatnot. They have their own thing going, and then she notices that he has a wedding ring, tan line, which is just super weird because I've participated in sexual activity once or twice before, and I can honestly say I don't think I ever paid attention as to whether someone had like a tan line on their ring finger before, so it was a little too conveniently inserted in there.
Well, but you actually participated in sex before. Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like if you participate in sex before like 100 times with the same person, don't you think that that kind of small details would actually just pop up to you?
No, that's not really how I roll.
Okay.
Even if we did that, I kind of felt like that was a bit of a throw.
Okay.
To maybe her thinking of, it could have even been some kind of, the whole film, and this is where I'm going to get to my gripe later, there's a lot of metaphor in there. Mm-hmm. And by a lot, I mean literally the whole damn movie. Yep. And so I think some of that can be interpreted to, if you want to make everything a metaphor, you can even make that a metaphor. Just notice that she's sleeping with someone who may be the same person, but is just inherently different, and he's going after her in this different personality.
So let's just take a vote really quick. Who thinks that they were actually doppelgangers? Who thinks that they were that he's a split personality? And who thinks this is all just like actor Jake was just something in his head and it was like all metaphorical?
I think that is I'm absolutely for the last interpretation. I think that both of them, they are the same persons, the same person, but they're like just different aspects of the same person. Part of it is about like just fantasizing about like what their life could be if it was like slightly different, and they're like details of both that they are reality. So for example, I think that he's not an actor. I think that he's truly a professor, but I think that he's close. He actually is married to this wife that is pregnant and everything, and he's like just a bit like reminiscent of his early days where he was like just this kind of bachelor apartment that he was not settling down with a single girl.
And Edwin?
I could go for that if we want to go into being like realism. I also, and to say like I watched this yesterday and it was the first time I watched it. The end was not a spoiler because I've watched a million scenes that make fun of it because people always say it's the scariest ending in movie history, and I was like, no, it is not. It's
when
out there.
When you see it by surprise the first time, it's fucking scary.
I think if it had come towards him, it would have scared me, but being that it was going away from him, it did not provide me with the same level of fear.
Because he was going to step on it with his stiletto.
That is possible.
I wish that I could see
Jake Gyllenhaal in
stiletto.
a stiletto would be on my OnlyFans page. That's another thing. But also, if we did want to go into this, like, you know, surreal, like something supernatural is happening, like, I kind of like the idea of, like, they just diverged at some point, and Mom didn't, like, the whole scene with Isabella Rossellini, who is probably, I think she's up there as, like, one of my top 3 actors alive, or dead.
Yeah.
I absolutely love her. I saw Blue Velvet when I was 21, and it completely
Blew your mind.
I actually kind of laughed at the movie a little bit. I loved David Lynch's, like, hilarious take on irony, but and like the way that he would just make certain scenes way more dramatic than they needed to be, and then, like, super important scenes would just make them, like, kind of just totally passerby. But the thing that really blew me away from it was Isabella Rossellini. So in that scene, it was really interesting because she was talking to both of those characters. She was talking to Adam and Anthony, sitting there in her, whatever the hell that place was, like an art studio / mansion. But I'm not sure if I just made my point or not there.
So which one of the interpretations do you follow?
I would go with the split personality.
Oh, split personality?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So when I watched it this time, it was so clear to me that actor Jake Gyllenhaal, Anthony.
Yeah.
And everything we were seeing was just everything that Professor Adam wanted. It's like the fantasy life, just like you were saying. And we were seeing true elements of his actual affair. And then, in my mind, he killed that part of him, or tried to kill that part of him.
So you think that the girlfriend, the quote-unquote girlfriend, the non-pregnant woman, is that was like the person that he had an affair with?
I think so. I don't think it matters, because all of Anthony was just him working through his infidelity and his fear of commitment, especially when his wife is pregnant, which is what represents, like, okay, this is forever. I'm stuck with this kid.
Yeah, definitely. So Edwin, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I realized I got so into talking about Isabella Rossellini, I forgot to talk about what, if it were something supernatural, would basically be just that the two characters at some point split off and diverged into two people at one point from one person.
I could see that reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that at the beginning. Did you actually watch it in Amazon? Did you watch the interview that they had afterwards?
I did not watch the interview that they had afterwards.
Oh,
gotcha. I threw my TV out the window
and
went for a walk and breathed,
washing your eyes out,
and wrote a few notes.
Okay. So, did you like the movie?
I do like several of this gentleman's other movies.
What else has Villeneuve done?
Blade Runner, 2049, Arrival. He's doing Dune.
Yeah. But he did better films before.
Prisoners or something like that it was called, with Jake Gyllenhaal too.
I liked Arrival, and one thing that I was surprised to... wow. Okay.
Sorry, some technical difficulties.
This podcast has been brought to you by Gemstones and Synth Pop. One thing, so after watching that with Arrival, what I like about Arrival is he talks about concepts that are beyond our comprehension. Like the idea that there's a possibility to create a language that would allow you to see back and forward in time.
Yeah.
There's...
Ensemble.
What?
Ensemble, he did.
Yeah, but Arrival, I understand that.
And so I think that's something about this gives him that. I can't see. I'm wearing my contacts.
This is his full film. So this Ensemble won the best foreign language film. It's French-Canadian.
Huh.
And then Polytechnique is supposed to be really good, but I didn't see it.
Prisoners, and then Enemy, and then
he made
Oh,
Enemy.
Sicario, that's right.
And he's like, nope, I'm going mainstream. I'm just going to do alien movies. And
I did enjoy Sicario. I think I saw that with you, Jose.
No, I never watched it.
Was that before him? Okay.
No, maybe it was another author.
It was another otter. And when I saw, I actually really enjoyed that. And then when I found out that this was the person that did Arrival, I liked that kind of, like he's capable of handling topics that are beyond our comprehension, which is pretty cool. That's something I really enjoy. Before we started recording, we were talking about our interest in dinosaurs and extreme physics, etc. And those are also things that are kind of beyond our comprehension and attempting to comprehend them, which I think is really neat. That being said, I found it, oh god, you guys are gonna kill me, but I found it horrifically pretentious. I felt like the film is something that the drag version of Chloe Sevigny would back. Like the Chloe Sevigny is like
yeah, we remember that.
Yeah, it's like a film student watched Fassbender's Lola and Lynch's Blue Velvet and thought, I can do that, but with tarantulas.
You're dead to me now.
Isabella Rossellini.
And the guest star had to leave. It's unfortunate.
And solo atonal clarinet, groundbreaking.
Come on.
That just screamed. The whole soundtrack screamed.
No. Only someone that actually just like had that kind of musical knowledge will highlight that. I didn't even realize about it. Even after you told me, I started watching the movie. I didn't even pay attention to that.
And Isabella Rossellini, other than supporting my above point, was fantastic as always, and explained the whole story in about her 3 minutes of screen time.
Well, sure. I mean, she can tell you that it's like, I think that you guys are the same person, but at the same time, she's not going to be like implying, she's not going to be like explaining why they are the same person and what would be like the desire that they would have. Is that don't you have like the fantasy? I think that everyone thought at some point about like what they would do if they would find someone that they look exactly like that. You know? And I think that what is interesting here is like about like the development of connecting towards like the fear as a society that we have of there may be like something better for us out there. What about if I actually leverage and I use and abuse of this person that looks like me for just having another opportunity?
Oh, absolutely. I just think it could have been explained better without tarantulas and atonal clarinet music.
It's metaphorical.
And it also did, and there are things that, like, an overuse of metaphors tends to get on my nerves. I've always been that kind of person, and it's not for... Like, the first thing that my professors would always say is, like, oh, you're not reading into it enough. And I had to put so much work into, like, English and film studies papers to show them that I comprehended what I watched before I tore it apart. I did the same thing and actually almost didn't graduate high school from with Catcher in the Rye. Because, God, I thought the book itself was a phony. But that's, that's my thoughts on it. And
wow.
Also, there's one thing that really gets me, and it's what makes other things difficult for me to watch too, is Adam's level of anxiety and shyness for someone who is like a professor, who's used to having regular, like, difficult conversations with people. It was so just unbelievable that he, like, couldn't get a sentence out when talking to people at different times. I just found it too hard to believe those things, and that made me start picking apart other things. Like, no professor is late to class and just completely forgets what they're going to talk about when they're at that level of a university. But no professor actually grades papers.
A midlife crisis.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what I understood is that this is a person, especially how they start, is a person that is like completely trapped in a loop of not mediocrity, but a bit more like just conformism. You know, he got to a point of actually saying, like, I'm with this girlfriend, I don't know if I want to commit to her or not, and living in this apartment that is nothing like too special, and I'm like just talking and giving the same lesson day over day, like probably like multiple classes, because instead of just talking about like the control over life, and what he's feeling is like the life is not really that he's in control of it, it's like the life that he's living is controlling him. It's the other way around. So it's that he's just going through the motions. So at the end, it's like I understand that a person like that can get to a point that is just unsympathetic. That is just like, okay, I would do my stuff, I would be like a bit anxious because I'm unhappy and just trying to wonder what can I do to check out. But then he starts like just getting like more engaged in other stuff. Like, for example, when after he connects with Anthony on the phone, and he goes out and he's like super excited about it. He starts like just talking with a random woman. It's like it's clear that it's like this is like a revulsive for him. Like finding something else is something that is like just giving some kind of meaning to a life that it was becoming dull for him.
But then he does go meet Anthony in the hotel room, and like Anthony takes his shirt off and he like freaks out and runs away. I mean, let's be honest, if you were Jake Gyllenhaal and Jake Gyllenhaal took his shirt off in front of you, would you say this was a mistake and walk away, or would you take off more than just your shirt?
It will be directly to the OnlyFans.
Yeah,
we go straight to the OnlyFans.
See next on my OnlyFans.
Tomorrow
Me?
from Silence of the Lambs, would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
I will fuck myself. I'm just saying, and you look like myself. So, yeah. I mean, I understand the part about like the pretentiousness. I think that maybe the first time that we watch it, we may have brought up that because it's a bit artsy. But after watching the Turing Horse, holy shit, this is the kind of artsy that I tolerate.
This is like cotton candy film.
It's correct, yeah. Look, it's true. It's like the spiders is something that you can just look at a camera and say like, it's about just being unhappy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I think that the visual language that it develops, you know, like the kind of, I don't know, like if you are like the audience and you are seeing those gigantic spiders, as I was saying, like most of the population, they're going to feel uncomfortable seeing them on the screen or just feeling repulsive. And it actually, instead of just him, like Jake, doing like a face, so it's like, ugh, I don't like
He's
this.
just like sighing, like giving up almost was his face at the end.
Yeah, but I think that is like just perfect, you know, that is like how he actually has like this internal repulsion, and then when he realizes about like, I'm once again on this loop, I'm never going to be happy, and I don't have like an exit.
And it's also like a useful device. I mean, I'm not saying I completely disagree with you, Edwin, but like maybe normal people don't feel as repulsed by commitment as that character did, but I sure feel repulsed by that spider, so it made me feel what I think Denis wanted me to feel. So
yeah, instead of actually just the character like having like a background voice saying like, I walk again next to this woman, I feel repulsed by commitment. It's like, I think that
would have been like, yeah, that hypothetical film student that I just made up, that would have been his like first attempt at this. He would have been like narrating it, but he would have gotten Isabella
So you mean
to narrate the voice of Jake Gyllenhaal.
So you are basically like just plagiarizing or just like taking away the main story in adaptation.
I'm sorry, did you just accuse me of plagiarism?
No, plagiarism, no, but it's a bit more like ripping off, like for just doing your points, you know, like the story on adaptation, you know, like when he's using like the background voice, and he's saying like, okay, I don't care, I'm using background voice, fuck you.
Yeah. Reminded me of the Mr. Plow episode of The Simpsons when he uses the last of his money to hire a law firm or an ad firm to do a video, and it's just like an opera singer in the background, and some woman just smashes a snow globe, and it says Mr. Plow.
Like plagiarizing again, like the 1984 commercial from Apple, you know. But it's like I love the reaction there because everyone was like, "What was it about?" Yeah, I don't know.
It's a new Mac Plus.
This is cool.
We got one of those.
Yeah. So
until I was 16.
But from that perspective, I understand that it's like that is like the parody about like, okay, you go like full artsy, and there is no message behind. You know, I think that in this one, actually, there is this artsiness is a vehicle. It actually has a message. It has a purpose. It's not about like just being visually appealing or visually shocking.
I hear what you're saying, Edwin. I do, but I think that it was a very, very powerful metaphor that worked for me.
Yeah. I don't disagree in any case, but yeah, you said that
it's like there's no wrong answers on this podcast, but if there was,
the message could be yours.
No, yours would be completely wrong. And you know what? I totally accept and I'm okay with that. I mean, I think we just it's a varying of opinions of how we. We're right next to an airport, so an A380 just flew over us. So that's
Can you just recognize him by the
air travel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my approach, I would say, have me on again sometime, and it can be after watching something, one of the many other movies that we watched together. I would love to, and I think if you want to have a better introduction to me, a more optimistic one, try not to make it something like this or Eyes Wide Shut or
No.
That's
one of
a good
those other
Yeah,
movies
that's
where
pretty
at least one thing I'm happy about though is they didn't get a full I can't remember I'm drawing a blank on any of the examples that I have, but tried to watch a couple of like movies that are along this kind of genre where it's all a metaphor. And they get huge name actors, but then they have like 7 lines in the whole movie, and that like they were able to do that because they didn't have to pay them that much, so they just had to film for like 45 minutes, and then like over like this 3-hour film, and then it was all visual effects. I was glad that they didn't do that, and they just utilized well-talented actors. And
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal, who's a different kind of talent.
He's a multi-talent. Let's just leave it there. I think that the guy is talented. It's actually the 3rd movie that we watch of Jake Gyllenhaal since we started recording.
You're welcome.
Well, we can forget Donnie Darko.
Well, I thought we had fun watching Donnie Darko. I mean,
When was the last time that you watched it?
So that was also, it was kind of like closing a loop, and we discussed this, Jose, when we watched it together. Am I supposed to say Gabriel Jose every time?
No, just
say your
It's
name.
fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God. So the sorry, that wasn't like because I don't like the name of the podcast. It was because I didn't want to have to remember to say it.
Coming
every
out
time.
swinging.
Wow, you're like just fighting for just
Wow.
for your internship here.
You gay bros took that. But when we talked about Donnie Darko, it was a movie I think both of us had seen. But there were extenuating circumstances as we were in our early 20s, and there was fair amounts of alcohol involved. So I attempted to watch it twice and was, drinking a lot of keg-based malt beverages.
As a point of interest, I think this is the first podcast we've ever done sober.
That's true. Without drinking absolutely anything. I mean, as we were on the car and you were driving, I hope that you were sober.
I did like a bunch of shots before. I guess.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
I mean, same
okay,
here,
okay.
same
There is
here.
still like building up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually pretty high on LSD.
That's nice.
Right now.
That will explain your opinion
you
because
bunnies-
that's the only justification for it.
You bunnies have been great.
Yeah. So, Blake, did you like this movie? Did you like Enemy?
I love this movie. I was like, this could be the next 10.
Wow. Okay.
No. I love this movie, and what pissed me off about the interview after Enemy is that it's so fucking clear to me that actor Jake Gyllenhaal is all in his head, and it's some metaphor we're watching. That when Villeneuve was like, "Oh no, this film is perfectly crafted so it can be read as either 2 distinct real individuals or this other version where half of it's in his head," and I was like, no one can justify that there's just 2 doppelgangers with the exact same body.
Yep. That's the part that I felt like, look, you are at the same time in part of the interview is that you love that it's basically like a single person and subconsciously like 2 different individuals, but at the same time you're saying, but you can read it however you want.
Directors are such douchebags. Attending like director Q&As at Sundance, there was no point in asking a question because they're just going to answer in a douchebag way.
Yep. They're going to be like answering whatever they already thought. They're not going to be engaging in conversation. So the interview didn't make me like it less, but I have to say that I enjoyed it more the first time that we watched it. I think that it's like now, as I already knew like all the signs, all the cues, and about like where it was going, I wish that it had a bit, I don't know, it felt like too minimal of a story. And we discussed like sometimes that is like we like stories that they feel like a theater play. But on this one I felt like there was more meat to it. It was like a movie, it's okay, this was 80 minutes, 80 minutes is more than enough for this movie.
But do you think less of it is a film?
No, I don't think less of it because of that, but it's like, I don't know, I felt like the first time was so impactful and so, I don't know, important, that is that this time I could actually just approach it in a different kind of way. I usually, like I already knew what the spider was going to represent. I already knew where the story was going to. And I actually have forgotten like different parts, but those parts were not important. It was a bit more like, okay, it almost feels like there is some filler here that I can forget completely.
I do think I noticed more that this is a very low budget film. And so you could kind of see through the cracks a little bit just in terms of quality, but in terms of direction, acting, story, he must have used like half his budget on spider effects.
Probably, yeah.
But no, I loved it. And then next question, would you recommend it? 100%.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Would you recommend it to anyone, Edwin?
Yes. Yes, I would.
To whom?
To people you don't like.
To my enemies. No. I definitely know people who would appreciate this film. And yeah.
Pretentious RC people.
No, there are people who appreciate pretentious artsy things that are not pretentious and artsy. Present Company, for example.
Okay. Point taken.
And then last question.
Well,
would you
no,
watch? Oh, sorry.
No, the other one is like, would you remember this movie a year from now? Would you remember like the details of it?
Oh, I ain't forgetting shit about this movie.
Already. Did you remember most of it, Blake?
Yes. I had completely forgotten Isabella Rossellini, so when her title card came up, I was like, super excited. but overall, I remember the sex club. I remember it being two possibly the same person personified twice. I won't forget this.
Yep. And the last one was...
Would you watch it again?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the second time is that probably I would leave it like a bit more time for just cool off, like maybe 2 years or 3, but definitely this is a movie that is like if I meet someone and they ask me, oh, have you ever heard of this movie? I would say, like, let's sit down immediately and watch
I'll add
it.
it to the list.
Okay, 2 years from now, if we're still recording, we're watching this again.
And would you watch this ever again?
I actually would. I think this conversation has been super enlightening, and I did a lot of reading about the movie. I don't know why that was funny.
Enlightening.
I hate
I
this movie. It's pretentious. I'd watch it.
I did a lot of reading about it, and I think after hearing why you both enjoyed it, I would probably go back to it and watch it again. But I think going into it blind and not really knowing where you're coming from, I watched it, and the whole time I was just like, I kind of just started picking apart the pretentiousness of it. And as a musician, the soundtrack just was... It was something that I would go and see in a theater, like, in a concert hall. I thought it was brilliantly composed, but at the same time, it was just like the whole thing just screamed like, I'm an art film. This is an art film. Everyone, this is an art film. This is gonna win a jury prize at a film festival. Art film.
Okay, that's fair. That's completely fair. I mean, it's funny that it's like maybe I was like so much pretentious cinema voluntarily and involuntarily. Thank you, Blake.
Sure.
Yeah, that is like this one. I feel that is like pretty mellow. I mean, I won't say that it's not artsy. I agree with you, but it's like because of the metaphors and like the directing per se, and the topic, even like just basing a Saramago book, is that there are not so many adaptations of José Saramago books. That is, it's true that is above average in artsiness.
What other movies have been adapted besides Blindness?
Blindness? That's the one that I was thinking. I don't know.
That was really disappointing.
You
That
told
book
me that.
is so good. It's so good.
No, I think that there may be like another one, but I may be like making it up.
You know that this is a Nobel Prize winning author, right?
Yeah, I read some.
It's also loosely based on his book.
Yeah, what?
It's also loosely
Loosely
based
based,
on his book.
I'd like to read it and be like...
Yeah, I would be interested in reading it.
There are no spiders on the book.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, they made it up for the movie.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Maybe it was because they didn't actually expect people to just understand that it was about like the fear of commitment. We're going to add gigantic
How can
spiders.
I make this so abstract that people don't get it? Because the most commonly questioned, the most common Google search.
Oh yeah, what is the main?
What is the spider in anime?
That's true. I love also the scene when he's like looking at the city, or they show like the city and you see like the gigantic spider.
Giant, long legs. I thought that was just really
Yeah,
cool.
that is like based. Crap, I actually looked like the name of the artist. That there was like a small exhibit at the MoMA a couple of years ago.
I saw it.
And there is in the Guggenheim in Bilbao. They have like one of these gigantic ones that is like 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
That you can just walk around, and it's exactly the same style. I don't know if it's like the author, the artist actually made it for the movie.
I doubt it with $5 million budget.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not. So what would you score? Who should I score first?
You're supposed to score because it was my pick.
Okay, what's your pick? I remember what was my score the previous time. My score this time is going to be an 8.5.
That's mine.
Okay.
And Edwin, your score on a scale of 1 to 10, 5 being perfectly mediocre.
So I would maybe want to I just want to put this out there as your first guest star. Or guest, not guest star. I'm just getting ahead of myself. As your first guest, I would say, one day you might want to make a ranking of all your favorite films, and how terrible it would be if your guest star had completely different tastes as you on a single film, and one of your films just completely lost. So I think it might be best not to include this score.
Oh no, your score is going to be in another column. Don't worry.
It's in another column.
It's going to be in another column. Don't worry. It's not going to average.
Good to hear.
It's like, sorry if we gave you the intention, the pretension. Sorry we gave you the idea that we care about your opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate that apology. Accepted. So yeah, I'd give it a 5.
A 5? Wow.
You would say this is perfectly mediocre? Wow.
Okay.
I mean, what?
No.
I think I made it clear that I'm not a fan of movies or literature or art that is all metaphor. However, the acting was phenomenal. I loved the cinematography. The sepia tone of it all was so, I felt appropriate for what he was trying to do. There were things on it that I did find not so believable that bothered me, but...
Man, the way they show Toronto, that is not what Toronto looks like, and they made it look like a cement, just...
Yeah, they made it look like a cement jungle.
Architecture
was... they did, and I mean, the University of Toronto, I actually have a friend who's getting their PhD there right now, and he's made comments about the fact that it is very brutally industrial compared to this pretty amazing, diverse, colorful city. So that was something that stuck out. But yeah, I think the movie is not all just on my opinion of how it was filmed. I would maybe even give it a 6, but my opinion doesn't matter. So we keep it at a 5.
It's a 5.
We'll edit this part out.
Yeah, it's a 5. We'll edit it out. Don't worry. All right, cool. So what are we watching next week? Because actually my pick, and we are actually right now in a parking waiting to go to our rented theater for watching Jurassic Park.
Which is going to be another 10.
Oh yeah, here we go. That one, oh god, is full of metaphors. Like Laura Dern, just punching her way into a Triceratops. Alright, well, that was it. Thank you so much, Edwin, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you can find me at my my OnlyFans and Just for Fans.
Justforfans.com/I don't like pretension.
Yes, that's it.
I hate metaphors.com.
It's basically me in a cat suit watching Fassbender films.
Just shitting on DVD copies of movies that you don't like.
Did you say I
was going to say just yelling at the screen.
Did you watch did you say Fassbender or Fassbinder? The director or the actor?
The director.
Did you watch Carell?
Yeah.
Oh, what a pity. Because you are in for a treat.
We're going to bring Edwin back at a future date.
Because we will watch Carell again. Oh my god. There is some strong metaphors there. And some strong voiceover explaining you everything.
Very big penis statues.
Yep.
I mean...
Okay. Well, thank you so much, whoever is out there listening to us. And
wash your hands.
Bye.